I'm so happy you're back. I love it when you come over. I'm Adam Pears. This is the Pear Naked Truth, a Scam Likely podcast. And before we get into this is the 10th episode of the not my I've done like 30 episodes by now, but this is I'm doing a collection. So just so you know, so it's going to be 10 episodes to introduce with a bonus 5, and all of them are going to be released at the same time. And this episode was supposed to be about my mom, but I'm like not feeling that today, and that's such a heavy topic. And so today, instead, I'm going to talk about something light like COVID. Anyway, watch me get dressed, and we'll be right back. So we're going to talk about COVID, but this is more about like my transformation during COVID. Like before, I was very rigid, and in so many ways, like people think that I'm rigid now. You have no idea, because not only was it rigid, there was a self-righteous, not self-righteous. There was a righteousness to my to being exact, that the world had structure and rules of engagement that everybody needed to live by, and if they weren't, then they were outside the bounds and like needed to be corrected. Like that there were trashy people and people that weren't, and there were ways to put these people into boxes, and I was like very judgmental. Not saying that I'm not judgmental, but you can only imagine before like how I was. So at this time, I was living in San Francisco with my friend Ben, who became like a chosen brother. Ben with his dog Miguel, Stinky, who I loved, and we had this like family, and we'd lived together for 5 years. At this like time, Ben and I were. So I'm going to start in like the fall of 2019. We were having some friction because he had just started dating this guy who is now his husband, and I wasn't really feeling him, and I wasn't being very nice either. I was being mean. I was bullying his boyfriend. I was upset that things were changing, and yeah, was not having it. So this was like leading into the fall. Anyway, but I had this like very clear vision, and I was waiting for things to be right in my life to do the things that I wanted to do. I was working at Google. I was single at that time. I was living in this apartment that hadn't been furnished. There was a free sofa or something that Ben got from somewhere, and I couldn't really imagine decorating my place until I could decorate it perfectly the way that I wanted to. So it was an all or nothing kind of thing. And that's usually how I was just about everything. I never went outside for beach days or pool days. You could not get me outside after 10:30 in the morning. Between 10:30 in the morning and 4 o'clock, you will not see me outside unless I have an umbrella. Like that's like how serious I was about a lot of things. And this is how I lived my life, like this type of regiment. And at work, I could be intense because I want to focus, because it's hard for me to focus. And so when I show up and resurrect myself every morning from the stupor of sleeping drugs to put me down, and then the amount of pharmaceuticals to get me back up in the morning, when I'm there, I'm like, I want to work. I want to work hard, and if you're wasting my time, I have no time for you. Like that's that's kind of the energy. I was made to be here. This is a very big inconvenience for me, so I'm not about the nonsense when it's work wise. Doing this while wearing hot pants, but always business on top, because you never know where your husband might be. You just have to let people know that I have a nice butt. Anyway, okay, so I had a group of friends going into COVID who we did everything together, and they were kind of my people who were also like the Ben that Ben was a part of. And there was someone in the group, I won't say their name, that took like a very aggressive stance and wanted people uh, to submit a list of their contacts, and that the group would determine whether or not the people were high risk or not. And so even though I wasn't doing anything, just from my soul, I couldn't do that. I was like, I don't want to give you the impression for a moment that you have that kind of authority over me in my life. You have to trust that I'm making good decisions, and leave it at that. And so they ghosted me, started a new group chat, and I was all by myself. Ryan was living in San Francisco, and we were best friends already, but I didn't hang out with his friends. But they let me come into their circle, and I had also been like very judgmental about them as well, because I was just like, oh, Ryan and your trashy friends, and then later he's like, funny how my trashy friends are your trashy friends now, and I'm like, did I say trashy? I can't remember. It was COVID. Who knows what I was saying before that. Anyway, so I am in shambles. I start hanging out with Ryan's friends more and like join their pod, and then they invite me to this. And when I say like I know I say the word shambles, I was crying in public constantly. So this is where I was just having these like breakdowns all the time, and Ryan invites me to a pool party that at a friend's house, and like an outdoor thing. And I'm just like, why not? Like, who cares about the sun at this point? Who cares about UV rays? Who cares about UV rays when you have this little type of treachery happening in your everyday life? So anyway, now I'm in the pool. It's a heated pool outside with my best friend, and then I'm able to stop and like take in things as they're happening without putting my filter on it. I was like, hey, I'm in this beautiful private vineyard in this infinity pool. There are fires happening right now, but I'm here with my best friends, with the hot guys, and in California, sunshine. And yes, I have lower body fat, but if I weren't me looking at myself, I would be attracted to that person. I live in like one of the most expensive cities in the world, and I'm making it work. I work at Google, and all of these. But like before this part, I couldn't see anything except the disappointments in my life. That nothing had gone the way that I had wanted it to go, and therefore it was not something worth valuing. That it wasn't an A+. That Cornell was not my first choice of Ivy League schools, and I didn't get into my first choice. So therefore, this accomplishment was no longer an accomplishment anymore, because it wasn't really what I had set out for. And that's how I graded myself. And whether it was my body or at Google, I didn't work on the really cool team that I would have wanted to, and there were better teams. And so therefore, this was no longer an accomplishment worth anything, and that I had like failed once again. That just everything that, and when I took a sum of my life on any other day, it was just places where I was almost enough. That I as a person was just like not enough, and here I was able to. That's the beauty of the chemistry, was that I could step outside of myself, and like how hyper focused I can be on something and take it in more as a whole. And then I realized like, oh my God, I kind of live a really cool life. I didn't realize that it was right here waiting for me to look at it and choose to do something differently. And I was like, why am I waiting to live my life? And that's what I was doing. I was just waiting for the perfect time to live the life that I wanted to live, to go the places I wanted to go, wear the kind of clothes, and be the person I wanted to be. And in that day, I decided that that's what I'm going to do. If everything is falling apart and the world is coming to an end, why am I waiting to wear flowy pants? Like, why am I waiting to wear colorful pants? Because I'm scared of what people may think, and people may think that I'm too feminine or gay or any of these things. And when do I feel the most alive? Is when I feel the most comfortable, when I can be at home with my best friend and we can laugh about stupid, dumb things, smart things, deep, silly, half-baked things like you, my special friend. And this is what that is to me. And that is what life is worth living, when you can really be yourself and work up to being yourself all the time and knowing that it's perfect. That is what's perfect, is you being yourself and giving everything you had to give that day. And then that's enough. And anyway, so that happened early in COVID, and it changed my whole perspective in life and outlook, and led me to take chances that I never would have taken. Some of them worked out for me, some of them didn't. This is before I met Sonoma, my first boyfriend, traditional boyfriend, but I never would have had the courage to even chase that type of love that didn't meet the whatever the criteria was that I had before, and allowed me to imagine a new life for myself. And that is something that I always remember. And if there's anything, the why I do this, the scam is that you can't change your life, because you can. And if you're miserable or that things aren't going well, nothing you don't have to do anything in this life and in this world. That all of the things that you think that are the musts, usually they're really, maybe you ought to, but you don't have to. And feel empowered to make a change. Anyway, so that's it. So was COVID to me, and there are all sorts of stories and things that I can get into, but that's not what I want to do today. This was like the first transformation, and realizing that I could actively transform if expanding my mind was COVID. Then again was in New York last year. And this was my personal like COVID was the situation, and this is where it gets a little touchy, is that there's some things that I just can't mention right now. It'll be in the book later on. Someday it'll be in the book. So there's frustrations at work were happening, and really pushing me to the edge, and I had to make some decisions there. That I again had to stop and evaluate my life, and what was it that was really important, and how do I stabilize myself? And when things are in flux. At this point, I'd had a horrible breakup with Sonoma. I'm in New York. Things are not going the way that I wanted. Instead of prancing to New York, I felt like I was limping, bruised, and showing up drowned and harassed. So after COVID, why am I waiting to live my life? So I constructed this beautiful restoration hardware sanctuary of my home, that I felt if I could keep this pristine and controlled, that this was where I come to recharge and to stay balanced and to stabilize myself. That my internal stability was so dependent on having control of my surroundings and an environment fully, and that those things couldn't change. And so I had recreated the same apartment in New York and brought everything with me to recreate the home that I had in San Francisco. Everything came. The bamboo in the back. Oh gosh, I hit the mic. The TVs. I have a 200-pound mirror in my in my bedroom that like takes up the whole wall. The sofa. Have I told the sofa story? Maybe this was okay. This is so. While I was making my life and going like, you know what, I'm going to decorate my home, and everything you had to order was custom order. So the sofa was from Restoration Hardware, and I had looked at the dimensions, but they weren't doing in-person visits, and they didn't have the sofa in person. So I had to, and there are no refunds. So I spent a stupid amount on the sofa. I don't even want to say. I don't even want to say how much. I don't even want to say how much. So we were talking about like 5 figures for a sofa. Which it's easy to get anyway. I'm not defending my choices on this to you. This isn't what the story's about. So it was so deep because I wanted something to be a kiki, and I imagined what's going to be so great. And Ryan is 6'3", so I need a sofa. If we're like having a cuddle puddle on my sofa, like I need room for that. And Justin's a huge man. All of my friends are kind of big, so it's this like double deep sofa. Anyway, so it shows up, and I told you when I get overwhelmed, I faint, like pass out. That's like something I need, like an instant nap. If things are like overwhelming, my body just shuts down. It's important for the story because of this. So it's delivery day. We're in San Francisco. Everything's scheduled. You have to get all of the paperwork for, especially if it's a condo building. They're the worst of any sort of moving in things. You have to sign with your life that if anything happens, they can take your heart and sell it. So anyway, get all of these things in. The guys, there may be like two guys there delivering it, and they can't get it into the elevator, and they're easing it in and like pushing it and trying to angle it in, but the sofa's too deep and can't fit into the elevator. And then when they come out and they're like, we can't do it. This thing, again, spent more than $10,000 on the sofa that can't be returned. I'm like, oh my God, I need to take a nap. And I'm like, I'm spinning around, fainting in the lobby of my apartment building. The front desk person coming over to like help me. And anyway, so they had to come back with 6 guys and go up seven stories. And each floor, they would have to go up, unlock the door, lean the sofa in, and then bring it back up. And it took more than an hour. It took more than an hour for these guys. And these small men, like strapping it on their back and going it up. By the time we got to the front, everybody was cheering. And we were just like, yes, we did it. We did it. And I tipped them all like very well. And so that was I knew like, okay, well, the sofa, and it's not leaving this apartment until I'm leaving the city. So then moving to New York, and recreating the sanctuary that I had in San Francisco, I needed an apartment that could fit everything because I needed everything to be the same. Like fast forwarding to like last year, there was an incident and an accident. And this is why all of my friends are on me and everybody's on me. And even publicly sharing this is a big decision of risk that I'm taking. So I'm trusting you as my special friend. Okay. There's an incident and an accident. The incident, I was doing my usual meditation. So spinning around even just like telling people I do these. These are things that when I'm getting more into like autistic creators online, and why I'm like so triggered sometimes when I see these behaviors is because I do that too, but I know that other people may not, and it's not things that I do around people, so, but mine is like spinning. So I'm a big spinner, and it helps me think and like focus. So I'll have the same song going over and over again, and then I'm usually spinning around and just centering myself and doing all of the life calculus that I do because it's visual for me. So spinning around, and I had gone to the refrigerator to get something before. The refrigerator door didn't didn't the refrigerator. See, I get nervous now. That's when I'm stammering over my words now. The refrigerator door, I don't know who left it open. I was there by myself, but the refrigerator door was open and I backed into it. So I back into the refrigerator. The refrigerator falls on top of me, and everything in the refrigerator comes out. All of the glass, because everything I try not to have plastic, so everything's glass. The every container is glass, every jelly, and I have all of these like specialty preserves and things that I get from all over. All of this is shattered. The tomato sauce, and I had this like beautiful, very expensive, cream colored high pile rug that I don't even let people usually like walk on it with shoes, and never with shoes. I have things to cover people's feet at the door, and now it's like covered in tomato sauce, that I'm like cut. There's like glass in my back. This was just and then I just like stopped and I said, you know what? This can't be what shakes me. Like these four walls and like what happens, like keeping them in a pristine condition can't be the only way that I stay anchored in this life, because everything is always breaking, and it had become a prison. I had become a prison of my material things, that everything falls apart eventually. The sofa gets saggy. The Somebody is drunk and bumps into a painting on the wall. The chairs that were so expensive get stained, and in that one, how can I give advice to other people if I refuse to live life or let any sort of uh, if I allow for any sort of surprises or mistakes? That how can I say anything if I don't even let people in my home? That people spill things. That's like part of life. Like everything is going to everyone will leave you at some point. Everything will break at some point, and that home has to be inside, and that's what's important. So I decided that I was going to break all of my things. And I started breaking everything in my house, screaming at the top of my lungs. I threw eggs against the wall. I ripped the TV off the wall. This plant, one of the plants you can't see, still has tomato sauce on it from when I ripped it down and did it over. Broke glasses that I was always scared to break. Put salsa all over these suede chairs, all over my suede chairs at my bar, just screaming at the top of my lungs. And the first time I went to throw something, it wasn't easy. This wasn't just like a manic. I went to throw it and stopped and couldn't. And I was like, oh my God, because I knew what was going to happen. I was like, one, this is going to be an incident that people are not going to understand this. And also like taking a pause, like, am I having a breakdown and is this something? But anyway, so trash everything. And so when I'm done doing this, I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like going to bed. I think I'm going to go out. So, so then I went out, like threw on my harness. My shoes are covered in soup and tomato sauce. It looks like vomit, in my opinion, when going outside. So go to this club. All of these men were like, you look so beautiful. I am literally bleeding. There's glass in my back and it looks like vomit on my shoes. And these guys are just like, oh, you're so hot. And I'm just like, the amount of work that I usually put in to this, so I will somehow be like acceptable. They don't even care. They don't even see the detail. Why am I harassing myself, that I need to be perfect when nobody even cares anyway? They're not even noticing. They did, and so I'm just like laughing every time somebody like compliments me because I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I'm in shambles, and people are still like, oh well, you look hot. And I'm like, thanks, I'm bleeding. Anyway, next day I had a very early brunch scheduled with Ryan. And I told him that he shouldn't come over because, there was an incident and something's happening. And so then he comes over, because he's like, well, if something happened, then I definitely need to because I'm your bestie and we'll figure it out together. And he came in and maybe I'll post those because before I didn't take any photos. And then I was like, I won't be mad, Ryan, but did you have any videos? And of course he did because he's like the little brother that he's like, no, I'm going to keep this because this is still evidence if we have to put you someplace. And like, because the refrigerator's over, the plants are everywhere. There's eggs on the walls, eggs on, the TV's off the wall. So he helped me put it up, but then, and I went to urgent care, got stitches and things taken out. And when I came back, my brother was on the phone with Ryan, and Ben was there too, because there was like the intervention. And of course, they're like, we need to make sure that you're safe and all of these things. And I explained to them like what had happened, that it was an accident and an incident, and that I feel freed. Like that understanding that will change, relationships will change. Ben and I became friends again, and I mean, we never stopped being friends, but it was a hard part. But all of these things like taught me that the life shakes, and you can't lay down every time there's a bump, and even if you get to a spot where everything else is secure, finances, the life, like anything may happen and you still have to, home has to be inside. That leads me to this, me doing this podcast, and that I wanted to leave and forge a new path for myself. And so the pressure that I feel sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, whether it's like you, not disappointing you, that I'm like, I want to give you something that's true and to the heart and meaningful and useful in some way. But something that my friends and family will look at and know that and appreciate, I guess, like how hard this was for me. I don't think that was what I meant to say. I don't think that's what I meant to say, but that this is a quality product, premium product, and that they believe in me and they believe in Scam Likely. And if I can just help one person the way that someone has helped me, how so many people have helped me, it's worth it. It's worth it. So that's it. So that was COVID. That was my personal COVID that I went through last year. And I think with that, I'm going to do this next part is the pair necessities. The pair necessities will take a break, but it's going to be a little bit different this time because I'm going to talk about kind of something else. We'll see. Stay tuned. Come back. I'm Adam Pears. Pair necessities are right up, and this is the Pair Naked Truth, a Scam Likely podcast. All right, welcome back. This is my favorite part of I always get nervous and forget my own name. The pair necessities. So it's like bare necessities, pair necessities. Adam Pears. Get it anyway. And this is where I share the things that I cannot live without. And I've told you about the importance of chapstick, which I need right now. Chapstick, fresh breath, cleaning your body whole properly, and proper hygiene, soaps. I think we touched on that a little bit, and moisturizing. So here I'm going to show you the products that I'm going to use to moisturize today. And then I'm going to tell the story, and you're going to see how I do it, while I'm going through. I'm going to try to say it out loud, but it works better if you're watching this part. Anyway, so I encourage you to watch if you can't. I'll do my best to be thoughtful. All right. So first, you need to start with a moisturizer that has very little scent and that is going to be hydrating and no reactions or active or aggressive ingredients like acids or exfoliate or anything like that. I used Cetaphil moisturizing cream, but the issue with any of these, if you look at the ingredients, if the first ingredient is water, while it will hydrate your skin, it is going to dry your skin as well. And so the more lotion you put on, your skin will become drier unless you're adding a fat or oil to it. So I just wasn't sure if I was explained that the first time around. That's why you're doing this. So what you're going to do is and I did a high and a low version of this, The high version, the oil or fat that we're adding, is the Aesop Breathless. Love it. It feels great. You can put this directly on the skin if you're making money like that. Yeah, it's great. It's a wonderful solution. What I do is to take some of the moisturizing cream in your hand, do a couple drops of the oil of the Aesop Breathless oil, mix it together in your hands and apply it to your skin. The yes, things are important and great to have, but the bare necessities are the people in my life. And Ryan is a rock. He is the type of friend that everybody should be so lucky to have. He's measured and fair to a fault. Sometimes I am like annoyed at how fair he is, and I'm like, Ryan, this isn't the time to be fair. You back me. That is down for anything. But he is always like, rules are important. If he will show up 30 minutes early, just because he is like wrecked with guilt if he's on late, and always follows rules and will pay extra just in case. And it's anyway. So, but like, he's always down for whatever. We're going to the movie theaters. I can't remember. I said like, hey Ryan, why don't we go to the movie theaters? This is in San Francisco. And every time we go, it's usually an adventure. One, they're the products that you have to take to the movies. So I take something always to wipe the seats because those seats are disgusting. So so he and I will be spraying the seats with an aerosol and wiping them down before we get on. We're the same type of weird. So, and I'm just like, that's not weird. That makes total sense. Why would you sit in a seat that half the world has sat in and did God knows what? Anyway, so we're going to the movie theater and we pull up. It's the Kabuki Theater in San Francisco. It's a nice day, but then there's a fire alarm. So the fire alarm is going as soon as we walked into the downstairs of the theater, and everybody's coming out of the theaters. And so now we're all like, what's going on? Like, what happened? Was it a bomb? And it's like, no, it seems like that was just like a thing. So now they're like ushering people back in and pushing, and the line was moving us. The line was moving us past, and we still hadn't paid for a ticket. So Ryan's just like, wait, but we don't have a ticket. And I was just like, Ryan, just like, come on, let's go. And he's just like, I don't, because and he's like, well, it's like awkward, and there are all these people, and he's like, okay, fine. So I convinced him to go up. We're going up the elevator, and he is just like, oh my God, we're gonna get caught. And I'm like, Ryan, we're not gonna get caught. Like, don't worry about it. We're not gonna get caught. We're going to to each of the theaters and realize that the photo or the poster outside of the theater is, oof, that's a little too much lotion. I feel like I did this last time. So the posters outside of the movie theaters aren't matching up to what's in the movie. So we're looking for our movie, and instead it's like Lady Gaga. Everything we went into was what was that like Lady Gaga movie? Was this like kind of sad? She ends up killing herself. No, we were trying to. I think we were maybe trying to find Joker, but it was Star is Born. So A Star is Born is like every movie, but it's like halfway through. So we're walking into these theaters, trying to find out the movie that we wanted to find but couldn't, because everything was A Star is Born, but none of the posters were there. So now I'm mad, and I'm just like, I'm already crafting the email in my mind of just like, I went to the movies and couldn't find, anyway. So we're going in, sitting next to people, and then realizing like, oh God, this isn't the movie. And we keep going. We tried like maybe 6 theaters. And then finally we just pop into a boy, like a story about a boy. It's like the Steve Carell one that's not funny. It's like very serious and about a kid with problems. Anyway, so we're just like, all right, let's just watch this movie because we've been doing this for 2 hours now, and we might as well. So we're sitting there in the back, and then security comes in, and it looks like they're with the police or something, and they have their flashlight. And they're going to everybody in the theater, and they're starting in the front. And Ryan's like, "Oh my God, they're coming to check tickets." And people are like bringing things out and showing the cop, and the cop is like looking. And then Ryan's like panicking. He's like, "They're checking tickets. What are we going to do?" We're in the far back, and I was just like, "Okay." I was like, "All right, turn off your phone." I was like, "Turn off your phone because we're going to say that they're dead, and then we're just gonna have to run for it." Because if they don't have a thing, then that's the best chance is just like we have to outrun them. And so I'm packing up and getting ready, and the cop is coming in closer, and Ryan is losing his shit. He's like, I can't go to jail for this. I knew this was a bad idea, and I'm like, Ryan, this isn't the time. We could do a postmortem after this, but we just need to get through this right now. So the cop's coming up, and now now there it's at the front of our row, and like comes to the girl next to us, and I'm getting ready to pull out all the stops, pull out all the stops. And then he stops and he gives us a voucher. And it was a voucher for the movie that they had interrupted with the fire alarm. And so it's not only did we sneak into the movie, then we got vouchers for free movies instead. And I was like, "See, Ryan, this is why you keep me around, because you break the rules now and then and have an adventure that you get to have forever, and this was a fun time anyway." So the necessity here was like having a friend that is down. You need a best friend and someone that even if you get caught sneaking into a movie, that they're ready to run. That's it. So the pair necessity is we are moisturized, and I think that's it. I think that's it for today. So again, thank you so much, my special friend. Scamlikely.com is how you support the show. Like, subscribe. I can't wait to share everything with you. There are going to be 5 bonus episodes after this, and then more to come after you have some voice, because I've been talking at you and I need a little bit of feedback. Like, I don't know, what was your favorite story? What do you want to hear more of? I need that from you. So there'll be an email address, probably feedback at Scamlikely, but well, that's TBD. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm Adam Pears. This is the Pear Naked Truth, a Scamlikely podcast. I love you so much, and can't wait to see you again soon. Bye.